What's up, everybody? Chris over here, founder of Pollinate Trading. And yep, we're talking Bitcoin again. It's that time. I got my Moon Man doing yoga shirt on, and it's time to get in there. Let's have a look. Share my screen with you. All right, what we're looking at here is the Bitcoin weekly chart. And this is Bitcoin futures. So something interesting that's about to happen this week is the expiration of the Bitcoin futures on CME. That normally hasn't really been a big deal because since 2017 or so, maybe 2018 was the first expiration, it hasn't been, there's been nothing else except the Bitcoin futures. Now there's a Bitcoin ETF. And there is a carry trade out there. So you can buy the ETF and short the futures and make that delta. Hadn't really been something that people have been paying attention, or hasn't really been anything that has been involved in, well, since the futures have been around until this ETF happens. And now we find the open interest the biggest it's ever been for the Bitcoin futures contract. So mildly interesting, but that is happening at the end of this week. There will be a roll. There'll be a new futures contract, and we'll go into April. I guess it's a monthly expiration, and we'll see what that happens. But it's been massive, and they've been getting paid. I think it's something like 25% carry on that to sit on it. So divided by 12, that's about 2% a month. You're doing pretty good. You're doing pretty good if you went and took that trade in the professional world. So that's likely what's going on there. What I wanted to take a look at was where we are in this is Bitcoin futures, and you can see there's some price gaps that have missed in the last in this year, but each time it's basically been a contract roll with a new contract. So the futures from February roll, there was a gap right there, and there'll probably be a gap here as well. But more importantly, the high volume node from the previous bull run is approximately 6,300 and I do not know. Let's go see if we get 63,200. Okay. So that basically, if you bring that over to where we currently are right now, that's the high volume node. That's been support. That general area 64.2 has been support so far in this breakout pullback. Now I'm going to spend a few minutes getting into this breakout pullback and kind of turn it into a lesson on these markets. So let me go ahead and turn off the I'm going to use BTC USD. I'm going to use Bitstamp because it goes back the furthest. So if you ever go on TradingView and you do BTC USD, there's hundreds of exchanges that you can pull price data from. The Bitstamp one goes all the way back to like 2013, I think, 2011. It goes all the way back to 2011. So you actually have the best data set with Bitstamp. Doesn't have, since there's thousands of places for it to trade, it doesn't have great volume, but the price data is fantastic. So what I want to do is I want to go back to 2017. Okay. Well, we can even do it back here into the 2013 breakout. What I want to show you is how a breakout to new all-time highs is treated. Kind of hard to see it on this one because it just went so quickly. And there was so few people in there. This is 2013. This is about when I got into it. So you can see that it goes from $260 up to like $1,160 or so in 4 weeks. So like what is that? Like a 5-6x almost. That's not the one I really want to focus on because it was just so few people and it was like one exchange or two exchanges. But by the time we get to 2017, we actually have a real robust market where you can go buy Bitcoin on a number of exchanges. You can just put your money in an account and start trading. That all started, in here, but it really took off into the 2016, 2017 era. So that was actually real trading. You could short sell Bitcoin. You could trade on leverage. You could mine Bitcoin. I mean, there's so many ways to play with Bitcoin by 2017. This one's actually far more relevant than this one. This 2013 one, there was like 1 or 2 ways to play Bitcoin if you weren't mining it. So I'm not going to focus on that price action. This one was actually real. And so what we get is we actually get a move to new all-time high. Last time we were there was 2013. By 2017, we've recovered all-time highs. Now, let me just put this in perspective. Everybody back then in 2017 was like, okay, that's it. We're done. Bitcoin never goes above 1,200 again. That's it. We're, it's done. And just keep in mind, it had just did this big breakout over here from 700 to 1,200 or so. There was some China banning crypto thing like they do every couple of times every cycle. And then you get to the breakout. And the reason that this thing was pumping so hard into this time frame, this would in the February, March time frame, and you can see that there was just slightly over. You can see that there is this big fuddy type candle in March. So what happened here? We break out new all-time highs, send it a little bit, and then we get this major pullback. I'm going to get into this right now. This is the whole purpose of what we're talking about right now. Now, believe it or not, I don't know how long you've been in the game, but that was the ETF announcement in 2017, March 2017. Guess who? SEC rejected the ETF. And you go from the day it was announced, it goes from 1,200 to 1,350 and all the way under 1,000. It was a wild afternoon. You're talking 20, 30% swings. And that was just from the SEC saying, nope. And of course, everybody was anticipating it. So each and every time we've had this ETF filing for the last 7 years or so, 6.5, 7 years, we've always ramped up into it, thought it was going to happen, guaranteed going to happen this time, and then nope. So the fact that it actually happened in 2024 was obviously super significant, but it really affected a lot of people were expecting it not to happen. And then, of course, a lot of people were expecting the news to be a sell the news event, which did happen, but all it did was just recharge it. So what's significant about this breakout is you're looking at this thing go from 200 to 1,300, a massive move, right? That's massive, going from a dollar or a penny or whatever to 1,300. Huge move. You break out, you pull back, and look what happens from here. You send it all the way up, you double it, over double it, up to over 3,000. Another big round number pullback, and then you send it straight to 20,000. So all that drama that you see over here, all this stuff from 1,100 down to 800, from 1,300 down to 900, that's absolutely it's pennies. You can barely even see it on the chart here when that happens. And so what I'm trying to point out here is typically what happens is you get your breakout, you get a retest, and then it goes. And when it goes, you worry yourself when all this is happening of buying the dip. Let's have a look at how low this dip went. Dip 34% down from the highs to the lows, 34, 35%. Again, that's 1,300 down to the under 900. That's a huge. You just buy $10,000. It's worth what, $6,000 there. You just lose a bunch of your money. And then, of course, you take it from let's say 10,000 over here to 20,000. I'm sorry, 1,000. So 20x. So you take 10,000 to $200,000 by the time you actually peak here, even though you took that drama. Oh, then this drama, and then that drama. All of these, I remember them, but I mostly remember this. Fighting through all these weeks during the summer sucked. Just when we started moving again, we have another pullback. Notice how we have a breakout, a pullback, and then another rip. So this structure is actually really critical. And you can see this here, this first part going from the lows to the new highs is just considered a trend. Okay. And I'll explain into that a little bit further. Okay. So now we have the 2017 high, the Christmas high, basically. And it takes us another almost 3 years to get to our next breakout of all-time highs. That happens in November of 2020. So, rally, COVID, rally, and then again, we get this breakout, and then it just sends, okay? But again, what do we see in here? What happens? We get the breakout, so another breakout, another pullback, so new all-time high gets printed, 19,900. This one went all the way up to like 19,600. So 300-point new all-time high, and then just gets crushed. And let's measure that. Notice how quickly this one happened. This one happened in, I want to say it's like 20%. This says it's only 12%. Could be. A very small pullback. Remember what was going on in the world at this time. This would have been the flu that shut the world down. And this would have been the rally that came after that. Everybody was stuck at home, right? People were not working from an office, and they were giving money to everybody to stay home and vote for somebody. So that's a lot of money came into crypto because it started to really start moving. And the 2020 timeframe really brought in a lot of people who were, again, just staying home from work and playing the casino. And so that was a bit different, and it happened really, really quick. Unlike the 2017 one, which lasted, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, takes about 2 months before you fully start sending. Month and a half, 2 months before it really takes off. Okay. So the new high over here, this one takes a week, if that, kind of up, down, and then it sends straight up into the 60s, 65,000 from 20,000. Look how quickly it does it too. So it takes so long to base and get going here, but once it breaks out and starts going higher, this is the second and third component. So you've got trend, breakout, momentum, and they look like this. This is trend. This is your breakout right here. Breakout, retest, breakout. Actually, it was like it's like where is it here? Breakout. So up, down, up, like that. So it's a trend, breakout, retest, and then send. That's the basic pattern here. And it's crazy because if you go back and you look at this period, like that, you're trying to tell me that that's a trend from 3,000 to 20,000. That's just considered a regular old trend. That's not a huge momentum move. Actually, it's not. It's just trend. And again, we eventually end up at 69,000. Nice. And that brings us to where we are right now. Right now, we've broken the trend high. We've come back in, and now we're looking to get going. Let's measure this one. This one, 17%. So a little bit bigger than this one in 2020 and a lot smaller than the one in 2017. But again, let's also take a look at the slope of the trend as we move towards the breakout. So you get so convinced this sort of move convinces you, that convinces all the participants that this is the rally that everybody's expecting. Okay. The angle of this trend is like, it's crazy. You go from 200 and, well, let's say 200 to like 1300 in a short period of time. That's not normal. That is not a nice, easy, calm trend until you bring it out and you look at it and you're like, oh yeah, no, that was the calm, easy part, right? This just calm and easy. And that's what this is the momentum. Take a look over here. This one going into it, this looks anything but calm and easy. From what, 3,000 to 20,000, looks anything but calm and easy. But when you bring it up to what happens next, so this takes March to November. So is that what, 8 months? This one goes December to April, so 4 months, just straight up. And then you actually have this, like, it's just crazy. This is, this got a lot of folks, myself included. And then so let's come to where we are right now, where we're looking at, you're trying to convince me that this is a trend. What I'm over here saying is this move right here from 15,000 to 75,000 or so is actually just a nice trending move. And the real move is, just like in every other instance, likely something like that. Okay, whatever it goes to, 250, 150, 90, whatever the number is. I'm not here to pick the actual price of the top. But if we look at every other move, it just goes straight up like that, right? This one just goes boom, very steep. This one's hard to even see how steep that one is. But yeah, this one just goes boom. Like, they're very steep and very quick. How they maybe we'll just go like that, so they look a little more uniform. But you can see the trend here is, maybe it's easier to show it like this. Yeah, probably something like that. A little bit easier. The trend here. And then, so what happens is you trend until you actually break out. And here's where we are. We've trended up to the breakout period. We retest, and then now it's a go. And so it's you have trend, you have breakout, and then you have momentum. So these are the three phases of a trending market. The trend, like, if you're an investor, you hope it lasts really, really long, because this is the easiest place to put your money in and let it sit and do nothing and just go and go and go and go. But eventually, if we're doing it like we are here, it gets a breakout. So this can last a year, 6 months, 9 months, whatever. The breakout are quick relative to the rest of the moves, or the entirety of the move. Breakout, boom, boom, boom. And then it just sends from there. And you really don't have, oftentimes you don't know when to get in. It takes off without you. And it feels like, if this thing goes to 150, that's a massive move. If this thing goes to 100, it's still a massive, it's still a very big move, relative to 1,500% in 2017, 300% in 2020. That could be 100% move. That could be a 50% move. Who knows? It could be 1,000% move. There's no, I'm not here to call the top price. I think the next level we get is probably somewhere in the 110, 120 area, but it's just speculation. That's just a guess. But every time we've done this trend momentum breakout, and this is not unique to Bitcoin or crypto, this is trend. And we have thousands and thousands of years of data on this, going back to the ancient Sumerians even. We have data on cotton. We got data on rice from hundreds of years ago. We've got the S&P 500's a 150-year-old trend. I mean, we've got a lot of data on trend, and it basically happens like this. You trend, you break out, and then you go into the momentum phase. And the momentum phase, once you get the momentum, then you actually get a top. Okay. So you can't get to a top without hitting the momentum phase. That's the cool thing about this, especially in an asset that does it like this, or an asset class like this. That's the cool thing about it. So if you're looking at it right now thinking, oh, that's the top, historically, it's never been the top. The momentum phase of the breakout phase of a momentum trend, or of a trend following, historically is never the top. There may be more consolidation. That just means that the rip higher is going to be, more violent. But not typically, without a breakout and follow through with momentum, you don't have a top. So if this fails, that just means that the next leg is going to be further down the road. And so how do I mitigate that personally? How would I deal with that? I missed the dip, right? I didn't go here and buy. Oh, well, we did, but that's a different story. I'm talking to you now is okay, what do I do right now, Chris? Where should I be doing this? The way I do it, and the way I have this position, the way personally I am going to take the bigger position, is a buy above the new high, because that's a breakout, a pullback, and then a follow through. So it could do this forever. And if it doesn't take out my high, I'm not in, and I just sit there watching as nothing happens, nothing of interest happens. And if I buy it right here, it could just do nothing. So I want the breakout. So I've got my trend, got my breakout. I want that pullback, and then I want it to send. Now, again, I could be wrong. It could do more of this, but I have a far more likelihood of getting pulled into the move when it starts really pumping by buying it when it starts going. And the fear of not catching the bottom on that is, kind of ridiculous, because, we can look at things like this. This is the breakout. Let's say you did this in 2017. Let's say you magically bought 960 right here, or even 1,000. Let's say you just did perfectly and you wrote it from there. It's really not that different from the 1,300. If you just waited for the 13, whatever it was, let's say 1,400 break, 1,375 break. If you just waited for that to pull you in, the thing went to 20,000. So 300 points is nothing. It matters. It doesn't matter at all. Same over here. If you bought at 17 instead of 20, let's say, so $3,000, and this thing goes to 69,000, who cares? It's that's like a 20-minute move when it's up here. That little thing that you ruined your sleep over for a week trying to, buy the dip and all that sort of stuff. So same over here. What we had the breakout, the pullback, may not be done. There's some volume stuff that potentially could get picked up over here. But if that doesn't matter. So it can go back into here and do whatever it wants, right? If we're looking at those similar sort of moves, all I want to do is, I could have got in at 60 or at 73, so 13,000. But if this thing goes, 100, 200, 300, 500, whatever it goes, I just want to be in with the least amount of pain in the direction when it's heading my way, with momentum on my side. So the break of the breakout is when momentum kicks in. So this is momentum. This one is breakout. And then this is trend. And so you don't start worrying about trying to find a major the top, the tippity top, until you start the momentum phase. And we haven't even begun the momentum phase. which may only give us, a few weeks. It may give us, 34 weeks. It may give us 90 weeks of momentum. We don't know, but we don't need to start working on momentum. That's a momentum problem. We're not in momentum yet. So when we start getting into momentum, then we got to start looking at these things, and we got to start looking at things that are going to give us they're going to give us the clue that we're probably getting to a peak and where you want to lighten risk. And so that's basically the way I go about it. So let me take you back, and this is our signal, our major signal for crypto. I use it on Bitcoin because Bitcoin runs the show, but this is the signal to say get into crypto. Right over here, that would have been in October when we did. And this thing will typically last for 18 months or so, I think, somewhere around there. So we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times 3 is 24 weeks. So I believe it was 90 weeks. So we're about a quarter of the way through the move, typically. Last time in 2020, that gets you out a little bit late, but also there's some understand that this is just Bitcoin. What it's also giving you is the ladder markets, right? After Bitcoin peaks, then you've got Ethereum and Solana. You got the big names that go on a run after Bitcoin. And then after those peak, then you go to the real shit coins that do their major, 1,000% moves in a day. So it's like this. You're looking at the big move from Bitcoin. Then you got your second tier coins, and then you've got your shit coins, right? So you don't worry so much about trying to catch the major shit coins right now, because their real move will happen after Bitcoin peaks. So that would happen if we're looking at where Bitcoin peaked in 2021. That starts to happen over here. Okay. So another sign, even though our signal says get out over here, another sign is we have big up move, down moves in Bitcoin. And while Bitcoin's going down, the big names are starting to rip. This is when Bitcoin or Ethereum and Solana really put in their big moves. And then right towards the end was when Doge and SHIB and all the meme coins really came on, and the NFT stuff really came on the scene. That was right over there. This one, similar thing. It wasn't until February or so in 2018. Bitcoin peaks in 2017 December, then Ethereum peaks in January of 2018, and then the shit coins peak in the end of January, February timeframe. So that's the general cycle of these. That's how it moves. So our proprietary signals got long in October, and we're a quarter of the way in. And then when we take that system down, you can see that it got long in October, and it stayed so that would have been 11,000 in October of 2020. It stays in until 42,000. Okay. This one doesn't have price levels, and it's a lot more interesting because it gets you in at more interesting areas of the move. And you can see, right ahead of the momentum moves, this strategy, this system gets you right ahead so it gets you in at the end of trend, right at the beginning of breakout, so you can catch the momentum move. And then it gets you out at the end of momentum. This one a little bit earlier. Let's take that out of the way. Let's take that out of the way. You can see this one again. Here was the breakout, but here is where is this? It is. The actual entry would have been October 2020 at 11.2 or so. The breakout happens at 20,000, right? So I want to be in these things a little bit earlier than the breakout, and I want to get out closer to the top. So right now we just got our first signal right near the breakout. See, right at breakout this time. And so that one typically gets you in right when the breakout happens and carries you through the end of momentum. So all the way through. And by the time this thing exits, the altcoins, the shit coins, the real shit coins, when this strategy, when this algo actually says exit, that's when you really want to get out of the game. So that's what we're doing over there. If you want to join us, you can join our group, pollinatetrading.com/crypto. We trade live. We have a Slack group. I've got strategies. We're getting live signals generated into the Slack channel from the actual algorithms. And then, of course, we have that's just the lab. Then we have the momentum system. I've opened up the momentum system for a few more people. Not too many, but you can take a look at that too. That is a full momentum system from we are in the trading regime to here's the sectors we're trading to here's the tickers we're trading. It's not Bitcoin. You can trade Bitcoin all you want, but it's focused on, okay, is DPIN going? Is NFTs going? Is layer 2s going? And then you find, then it puts you into the proper one. You know, are you in an AI token? Which one are you in? It puts you in the proper tokens within each of those things. So again, pollinatedtrading.com/crypto. And just make sure right here. .com/crypto. And you can check us out there if you want to join us. Or, you know, just like and subscribe to this video. Thanks a bunch. Have a wonderful, I don't know, what's today? Tuesday? Maybe we'll see Bitcoin at 100,000 by the time I hit publish. Bye.